Lazy people do a little work and feel like they should be winning. Winners work as hard as possible and still worry that they're being lazy. This is absolutely and utterly true. Even myself, as hard as I work with my monumental successes and billions of dollars, I sit at home and wonder, should I be doing more? Could I do more? Did I really need to sleep 7 hours? Would I have survived if I slept 6? Of course I would have. I feel permanent guilt for how hard I do not work, even though I outwork all of you. And you losers who pale in comparison to me in basically every metric that we have the science to measure, manage to do a little bit of work one day and then think you deserve time off. I deserve time off at the end of the year. I've had a hard year.
Thinking about it, Andrew, I'm just analyzing our year. Have we had a single day off this year? 1,000 push-ups a day. Push-ups, squats. Have we taken a single day off? Name one day where you haven't done any work in any realm this year. 0. I haven't had a single day off this entire year. Not one. There hasn't been a single day where I have worked 0 on the business, worked 0 on my body and my physicality, my strength, worked 0 on my fucking mind, worked 0 on anything, just chilled. Let's chill. Let's have a chill day. We've had 0 chill days this year.
0. How do you deal with procrastination?
Why are you asking me that question? Why are you on this podcast asking me how to stop procrastinating? Turn off YouTube. Go do something. What's wrong with people? This is exactly what you were talking about asking a question where you already know the answer to. You know the answer is to stop doing things that waste your time and apply yourself to something important. Now, this may not be a waste of your time, but let me tell you, you're a dumbass, clearly. It's like Googling how to get fit, like you just said. Everyone knows what a push-up is. Do 10,000 of them a day. Stop wasting your time. You know, I've never had to deal with procrastination. I've never had to deal with not being motivated because what is the alternative? Literally, be a loser forever. I am sick of reading shit on the internet saying, yeah, you know, some people are special and they take longer to bloom and your time will come. Let me tell you something. 99.9% of people who are born broke, live broke, stay broke, die broke. That is the reality for almost everybody. You already know the answer. You don't need me to tell you.
I can't stop myself working as a person who doesn't need money. And then there's people with no money who don't work. It blows my mind, which is why the winners are winners and the losers are losers. And it's almost like you can't save these people. I have something I sent in my email recently. I said, you could give the average man a brand new Ferrari and a roadmap and a coffee and a full tank of gas and tell him the destination, success. And halfway along the drive, he'll quit because it's too far. No matter how well you set it up for people, they'll quit. And people will sit there and go, and then put on Netflix. What more? I've given you a Ferrari, a full tank of gas. I've given you the latte. I've given you a roadmap. I'm giving you a hot girl to sit next to you and play songs and do selfies. I'm giving you everything. Just drive the car. No, yeah, it's far. I don't have motivation. Doop-de-doo. You're a loser. You are a loser. If you do not win, you lose. What do you call someone who loses? A loser. That is an underused word. Loser. My brother and I use it all the time. This person thinks this. He's a loser. What do you mean he's a loser? Look at him. He's a loser. He lost. Name a competition. I've beat him at anything. Uno, marbles, a fight to the death. You name it. I'll decimate this loser.
First things first, the biggest mistake most of you are making. You should be hungry all of the time. You are an animal. Do not forget that you exist in 2 realms simultaneously as an individual. You exist with your evolutionary biological makeup as an animal and also the societal version which has been constructed. They're different things. But as an animal, your body is designed to perform at best while you are hungry because you're supposed to be hunting for food. If you're full of food, you're going to be lazy and lethargic. You should always be a little bit hungry. Even after I directly finish a meal, I'm a little bit hungry because I don't eat enough to ever be full. So the first thing is always stay a little bit hungry. Second thing is coffee. Caffeine is a miracle drug. I am heavily caffeinated at all times, 15 to 20 coffees a day. I've also done a lot of research into coffee, a lot of research and understanding. I've also tried to quit coffee to see if there's actually any genuine benefit or improvement to my life. There is nothing wrong with coffee. It can never hurt you. Coffee, a bunch of it. Less food, more coffee. I do not take protein powders. I do not take creatine. I do not take steroids. I do not take TRT. Nothing. Lots of coffee, lots of meat. When I do eat, I eat once a day. If you Stay a little bit hungry, eat a meat-heavy diet, lots of coffee, you will begin to work faster. I absolutely guarantee it. Do those things. Do those exact things. Stay hungry, drink coffee. Tell us the truth if you genuinely feel better, because I guarantee you do. Guarantee.
It's actually an amazing point, because you and I, not many people know this about us, we have a problem with napping.
Yeah.
We're anti-nap.
That's the one thing we'll bully each other for.
If anyone catches the other one having a nap, they get bullied. Oh, I'm tired like a baby, and I want to have my nap because I'm tired like a baby, and babies are tired, and my eyes are tired. I want to be like a baby. This is the thing. Naps are so important because people are always napping. And they're like, sleep's really important for your cognitive and your muscles. If that's so true, how come you sleep more than me? I sleep 4 hours a day. I'm built like a tank. I beat the shit out of you, and I'm smarter than all of you, and I'm richer than all of you. Why are you sleeping so much if it hasn't helped you at all?
Yeah.
Clearly you're just lazy. And you think, oh, I'm just having a nap. How do you even sleep? I can't even sleep. I've got too many things in my mind, too many problems to solve. You're sitting there sleeping away like a loser. And you should bully all your friends for napping. Because you know who takes naps? Babies. Babies love naps. So next time you see your friend napping, say, oh, I know someone else who takes a nap. It's a baby. It's 1 year old. I know this 1-year-old who loves naps. Oh, did you have a nice nap?
And when I say try your best, because we're not robots, that means also do your best at relaxing and resting. If you're going to work. If you're going to chill, then chill. You don't want to be a dim light that's half on. You want to do one or the other. Now, I find chilling and relaxing, I guess this is my personality, it makes it easy, extremely stressful. There's nothing more stressful for me than trying to not do my work. Because if I'm not doing my work, then I'm thinking about the work I'm supposed to do, and I'm more stressed than doing the work. So everyone goes, hey, Andrew, you need to just chill. I'm like, that sounds terrible. That sounds like the most stressful situation to be in. So all I want to do is work. But if you're going to do something, you should be doing your absolute best at it. What's the point in doing anything if you're not going to do your best at it? And it's amazing how things can translate. If you do your best in one thing, it's not only the fact that the way you do one thing is the way you do everything, but if you do your best in one thing, it can radiate out across your entire life. That's the greatest thing about being a man. As a man, when you upgrade your life and you become a better man, by extension, you automatically improve the lives of all of your friends, of your woman, of your children, of your community, of your country. We radiate. It's amazing. But putting in that extra effort pays off, dividends. And you can look at it spiritually. You can be philosophical about it and say that God rewards people who try hard. That's how I like to see it. God is literally looking at all of us, no matter which God you believe in, and he's saying, all these people I've created, who's thankful? Any one of us could have lost our eyesight to bacteria at age 2. Any one of us. We didn't. So saying, who's thankful enough for what they have that they're trying their absolute best with it all of the time? If you do that, he's like, I like this guy. I like him. He's cool. Give him blessings. Give him something. It's amazing what comes your way. If someone were to say to me, Andrew, if you make an extra $1, or if you throw an extra punch, endless blessings will come your way, it would be disingenuous for me to say I couldn't do that. So I want you to actually think about what you've done your complete best at. And then I want you to try and apply the analogy of focused, because I focused my power into one knuckle and did more damage than any of you could ever do.
It's actually interesting because I think humans, or maybe this is just me coping, maybe this is cope, but I think we're designed to struggle a bit. Because the closer you are to struggle, the more sensible you are. Also, if you meet somebody who's had a hard life, they seem to be pretty wise.
Yes.
It's difficult to find someone who's had a hard life who's a total idiot. When you speak to these morons, they've had very easy, soft lives. So I think humans are supposed to struggle a bit. I know it's overused, but hard times create good men create good times, and the good times create a bunch of weaklings, and they mess everything up. These people have had too easy lives for too long, and none of them know any struggle at all. I mean, I don't know about you. I can almost crash my car 10 times. And I only slow down when I hit the tree. That's just how I am. Like, I think that inside of the human psyche, sometimes you need to be shocked. You need to be hammered with something. That's just how it goes. Because until then, you're like, maybe I'll keep it in mind. But there's a lot of these people out there who aren't being taught any lessons at all because they have never had any kind of difficulty in their life. And what is life without difficulty in the first place? But I think life is actually pretty simple. There's action and reaction. There's cause and effect. There's brave people and there's cowards. A lot of people are self-interested. And if you understand the basis of these motivations, it's not difficult to work out why the world functions the way it does. And cause and effect and action and reaction are very real. And I think
one of the largest plagues we have in the world today is a lack of action amongst people, and deciding not to act is an action in and of itself, right? And that's the only philosophy you need for life. If you want something to move, you have to move it. If you sit and wait for somebody else to move it, you're a coward. You're just hoping it's going to happen. And that's why I don't understand when a lot of people who see where the world is going and see the future that's going to be laid out for their children kind of just hope and pray when they really need to be taking a more active role, even if it's as simple as discussing every subject with anyone who will listen.
There's nothing more expensive than not working, trying to have fun, enjoy your life. Because then you spend money. But if you work, it's free. In fact, you get paid. It's even better. I probably spend 90% of my waking hours work. And then I'll go out and race a car around. It's the only thing I enjoy to do. I'll train, I'll beat anyone up who's ready to fight. And then I'll go back to work. All I do is work. Work. Endless. Never ends. There's always something to be done. Isn't there?
Andrew, you're simply wrong.
If that's what you believe, Piers.
That's what I believe.
I don't believe in things that take power away.
There is not an eminent doctor in the world
Piers
who would agree with it.
Piers,
Do you think you know more than doctors?
I can't become clinically depressed.
Why do you know?
Because I don't believe in it.
Maybe when you want to explore all the levels on the map of life, you don't just want all the levels at the top. See, this is the mistake most people make. They sit there in a normal life and they dream of being rich and going on nice vacations and dreaming of all the nice things. They don't dream of all the bad things. They think they can have all the light with none of the dark. That's not how it works. The only reason you appreciate being rich is because you were poor. If you were born rich, you don't appreciate it. The only reason you appreciate being in good health is because you were once sick. When you're sick, you'll do anything to be healthy. If you've never experienced sickness, you don't know what health is. There is no light without dark. I talk about this all the time. People say I've had a traumatic life. I say, well, then you're very, very fortunate. You had a traumatic life. Now, you may have misused that trauma. You may have misplaced it. You may have accepted the matrix telling you that you now have an excuse to fail as opposed to using it to grow. But every single man of value went through trauma and they went through pain. It's going to be painful to get strong, painful to get rich, painful to become important. It's going to be painful to become good with women. Your heart's going to get broken a bunch of times. You have to be prepared for the pain. If you're not ready for pain, you're never going to be anything that matters. So Justin just absolutely and utterly nailed it. My kickboxing coach used to say to me, I used to come in the gym, say, what do you hate the most? And I said, I hate running. He said, okay, you're going running. I say, why? He goes, because whatever you hate is what you need. Whatever you hate is what you need. I want to spar, bag work, pads, no problem. Running, I didn't want to run, but that's what you need. And that's what life's about. You're not going to be able to go through life avoiding pain and also becoming a man of quality. You're going to have to be that guy who's been through so much shit that he can wake up and go, this ain't nothing. This ain't nothing compared to back then. This ain't nothing compared to that time, you know? And if you're not going to be that guy, then you're going to always suffer the consequences of not being that guy.
Well, I know one thing, and this is a true statement that I've said several times. A lot of us don't know of a whole nother world that exists. It's on the other side of suffering. Once you break these barriers that you have made for yourself, like the mind is the most powerful thing in the world. In the world, it is so amazing that I used to be a 300-pound guy, and I thought that was it. Could barely read, could do anything, and now that what was inside that person was this guy that's in front of you today. That's how scary the mind is. And that's what I started realizing through this journey is that once I got a taste of, wow, man, I haven't even begun to crack what the mind is capable of. And I started realizing is on the other end of suffering, that's the real growth of life because you realize how the mind processes shit. And I talk about another thing called theory and practice. A lot of people are theorists. These smart guys that read these fucking books and shit, man, and they sit down, they tell you what the mind is supposed to do. And a lot of us listen to that shit. It becomes like, this is it, man. This old man who has been studying the mind forever. This is the cap that we have. By being a practitioner, I went out and realized a lot of these guys are so wrong, man. The mind has capabilities that are so unknown. I found that through suffering. And there's a whole nother world on the other end of that.
There's pain to become important and there's pain in not being important. So you have to make a choice. So I think Justin absolutely utterly nailed it. I think his answer is even better than mine could be. You need to find something you're afraid of, find something that could hurt you and go do it. And that's one of the great things about being young, right? You're basically superhuman.
Yeah.
All of us at our age, we're all in our 30s. I remember when I was 21, Bro, I
Run through a wall.
Bro, I could drink all night.
Yeah.
I run 20 miles.
Fight all
you couldn't
day.
hurt me. Like I had Wolverine-like healing abilities. And this is actually one of the problems with the world today. I noticed the internet's this up because we have all these youngsters who have a voice. They all think they know something on Twitter and on the internet, these kids, right? When I was 23, 22, I didn't know shit. I'm 35 now. I'm the smartest man on the planet. And when I was 23, I didn't know shit. When you're 35, you're definitely going to still be a dumbass. So when you're 23, like you are now, you don't know anything. Your only attribute is the fact you have Wolverine-like healing abilities and you're not using it. Stop talking. Start listening. Get out there. Get hurt. Get the back up. There is a degree of wisdom that comes from physicality. I learned a whole bunch of shit about the world from just having my ass kicked. It wasn't even conversations. It was just getting beaten up. And you learn about the world I write tweets and people are like, that's so wise. Where'd you learn that? I was like, oh, kicked in the face. That's how.
What do you believe about depression? Do you believe depression is a real thing?
I believe that feeling depressed is real. I don't believe depression as a clinical disease is real, no. I believe that the number one power you have against these things are trying to take control of your own mind and affecting your own life. I believe that it's not healthy to hand over all your power and believe that depression is an outside disease that you can't affect. I know that when I've had difficult periods in my life, and also many of my friends, like I've said, suffer from PTSD and been through terrible things. I've lived a very difficult life, and I know people who have, that the things that made them feel better is when they woke up and said, you know what? I'm not going to allow this to damage me anymore. I'm going to take responsibility. I'm going to get up and I'm going to fight this as hard as I can. If someone comes to me and says I'm clinically depressed or I feel very, very sad, I would say the first thing you need to do is stop accepting the identity of a clinically depressed person. Stop accepting you have no control over this. And my point is that a lot of people who are clinically depressed are suffering with something in their life. And if you fix the problem in their life, perhaps they won't feel depressed anymore. That's not a disease.
Yeah, but Andrew,
that's situational.
Andrew, you're simply wrong.
If that's what you believe, Piers.
That's what I believe.
I don't believe in things that take power away.
There is not an eminent doctor in the world
Piers
that would agree with it.
Piers,
Do you think you know more than doctors?
I can't become clinically depressed.
Why do you know?
Because I don't believe in it.
Your mind has a tactical advantage over you at all times. It knows your weaknesses. It knows your strengths, and it will guide you into your nice comfort zone.
Yeah.
We have to reprogram our mind to get a different vantage point. So then you know how to be in charge of yourself.
Yep.
Versus your mind being in charge of you. I call that my 40% rule, where like a car has a governor on it. It can go 130. You know, the governor's only going to go 91.
Right.
And the whole thing about that is a true statement, you know, like what you said, our mind wants to protect us. The mind is like, honestly, it has a tactical advantage over us. It knows our deepest, darkest fears or insecurities. It knows where we start to feel, we start getting that doubt creeping that says, hey, man, you know what, man, maybe this isn't good. Let's go back home to the wife. Let's go back home to the kids. This is not comfortable. So in that moment, the mind directs us. It's a protective mechanism. It saves us from doing bodily harm or it really saves us from discovering that the mind's like, I want to be in charge of you. I don't want you to be in charge of me. So it tells you, let's just stop right here. But once you start breaking through that barrier and start breaking down that governor that you've put in your mind, because we forget we are in control of our mind. We believe it's the other way around. No, we put in our minds what we should do, but we believe our mind is telling us, it's giving us all this feedback. We have to reprogram it and tell us, no, we're good. We're good. This sucks, but it's okay. Everything I've ever done in my life, I didn't want to do. Everything, every day. I'm a lazy piece of shit. And I'm one of the hardest working people that ever stepped foot on this planet Earth. And I'm saying that very proudly because I know what I do. It's not cocky. I'll tell you I'm stupid. And I'll also tell you the exact opposite of what I've done. It's the truth. It is the truth. So imagine how much I've developed in that time frame. But this is the scary thing. Why most people don't want to do that, build that willpower, is because it is scary. It unlocks a whole bunch of things about who you are and who you're not. And a lot of people don't want to go down that journey to discover who they are and who they're not. Cause it's not a pretty journey. I mean, I've gone down it. It's not like I went down it once. I go down it all the time. And when you unlock that, and you can't just turn it off. Like people say, hey, well, how come you haven't retired yet? I built all this willpower. Do you think it's going to let me just retire because my knees hurt? It's telling me every morning, I wake up like, man, my knees hurt, my legs hurt, my body hurts, but you can still run. So why aren't you running? If you can still run, there'll be a time when you can't lace them up anymore, but you can still run. So I still run. When the time comes I can't run, the body will say, you just can't run. But if I can still do something, that willpower that I have created, it makes me do it every day. And that's what they don't get. What builds a human being is you start with the small building blocks. And before you know it, man, you become something that it doesn't even make sense to most people because it's just who you are now. That's why I can still run at 50 at 49 with broke down knees and broke down body, because my body knows you still can. Therefore I do. Second you stop, the willpower is gone.
I made this decision to be this man, and I understood exactly what it comes with. And a lot of people at the bottom see all of the benefits. They see our cars, see the private jets, they see the girls, they see the status, and they want all of that, but they don't want the negatives. And that's why they're never going to get it.
Yep.
Because on your way up, you're going to start getting hit with the negatives. You're going to be derailed. There's no way to get to the top without dealing with monumental levels of stress. I often say the reason a lot of people don't have the things they want is they couldn't handle the things they want. They couldn't handle the life that is required to get the things they want. They simply would get anywhere near it and start to panic and pussy out and just go on holiday and hide on a beach and delete their social media.
Even comments.
Bro, mean comments. Bro. I've got street problems. You think I give a about mean comments from some anon? It's difficult for me to put into words how much I don't care. But there's people out there that do care.
Yeah.
And then they think, oh, I want to be like Top G, but you can't handle a comment on the internet. Bruv, these people are born to lose. So you have to decide, and you need to look in the mirror and really make a decision, because I think perhaps if you want to build a life, choosing your life path and knowing which life path you want to go down is going to allow you to be the most effective in the construction of that life. If you say, I can't handle that stress, I want to be somewhere in the middle, then accept it, accept the good and bad that comes with that, accept the kind of life you want to build and go do it. But don't sit there and say, I want to be Top G, I want to live this great life, and you're not prepared for war.
What's funny is this. If you were to take somebody who says, I'm doing my best, I'm really trying, and you were to get an exact schedule of their last week and find all the times they've wasted time, you'd say, look, you've wasted time, wasted time, wasted time, wasted time. You know what's actually amazing? Most of those people are not even self-reflective enough to go, you're right, I'm not trying my best. You know what they'd say? Well, I have to rest sometimes. Well, I have to have a social life. Well, they'd be so arrogant. God loves people who try. God loves people who work hard. It's amazing if you try your very best all the time, what God will give you. He'll give it to you, anything you want, if you actually try.
I am absolutely and utterly a believer in hard work. I'm a proponent of hard work. I have all this money and all I do is work. My entire life is work. This podcast is work. I'm getting in the car. I'm going to another meeting. Work. I'm going to go to the gym so I'm in good shape. Work. It's all work. My entire life is work. And people don't want to look at life that way. They want to talk about work-life balance and being lazy and all this crap. I don't believe in any of that. I believe in if you want to win, you have to outcompete the man who's prepared to do nothing but work. It's player versus player. If you're going to sit there and go, I don't want to work more than an hour a day. Well, the guy who does want to work more than an hour a day is going to beat you. And no matter how smart you are, there's always a smart dude who's doing the same smart work you are for more hours than you're doing it. That's just the nature of the game. So if you're the kind of person who's going to quit because it's hard, then f*** off. I don't even want your energy around me.
I have so many conversations in my mind because so many times I want to quit.
Sure.
But this is what it is. This is what I figured out. I was so afraid of myself that I had to figure out I became a master of my mind. People, when you're afraid of something, you have to master it. That's how you start to overcome it. So what I realized when I get to that point where I want to quit, everybody, they get to the point where they want to quit. This is what happens. The mind tells you, let's go home. Let's take a warm shower. Let's get some food. This is not right. This is that. If you cannot answer the questions at that moment, because your mind's going to start giving you all these questions. And if you can't answer them, you're going to quit. What I realized when I was going through Budge, Ranger School, all this 100-mile race, 200-mile races, pull-up records, my mind would come creeping in. Like when I was doing 4,030 pull-ups at 2,000 pull-ups and my hands were ripped open, my mind said, look, brother, We've done all these other things. You've proven yourself. You're good. If I didn't have the answer to respond to my mind and say why I'm here, why I'm doing this, you will always lose that fight. You have to have the response to what your mind is going to tell you. And another thing about that is self-talk. A lot of people have like these big four on mental toughness. All that shit is crap about self-talk, visualization. It's true. But the thing about self-talk and all these things, they ask me, what do you think about when you're on mile 100 of a 205-mile run? What are you thinking about when you realize you've run for 24 hours and you have 24 more hours to run and you have another 105 miles? What goes through your mind? What do you say to yourself? I want to know. A lot of people think self-talk works. It does, but it doesn't work without the suffering before your mind starts saying we need self-talk. So what I tell myself is I go back to the months and years of preparation to get to that day. And I'm telling myself the 3:30 in the morning and I'm looking at my shoes and I want to go out there and run 30 miles. I have to, in that second, in that moment of this self-talk, my mind saying, you got to find more. You got to find more. I once again calm down, go back into my mind, in my cookie jar, I call it. And I have to reflect back on the shit I did to get here. And that becomes my self-talk. Self-talk does not work unless it is real. Most of us lie to ourselves in this self-talk. It doesn't work. It has to be real. It has to be something that you've done to make it really work.
What do you say to young men who come to you for advice, who feel lost, who don't really know where they fit into society?
I say that life as a man is exceptionally difficult. I say the most beautiful and the most terrifying thing about being a man is you're born without value. Society doesn't care about you. You're only going to be cared about based on how useful you are. You have the chance to build yourself up and become a superhero if you're prepared to do the hard work and be indefatigable enough to never quit. But if you're going to stand around and wait for a handout, nobody's going to ever respect you. And I think that a lot of people have forgotten about how difficult and how competitive it is as a man. We're always in constant competition with each other. And it's your duty as a man to stand up and say, I want to be as important and strong and good-hearted and God-fearing as possible. And I need to work hard to achieve those things.
Dame Sheila Hancock says we've become too over-emotional as a society, crying too much about everything. Has she got a point? She's completely right. And the dangerous thing about overly emotional men is that they're dangerous. They're genuinely dangerous. This is what's crazy. All these people who talk about toxic masculinity and how bad it is for men to be traditionally masculine. A traditionally masculine man does things he doesn't feel like doing because it is his duty to do them. He charges into the building because it is his duty. Not because he feels like it, because it is his duty. We're now teaching the new generation of men that they don't have duty and they can just act on their feelings and act how they feel and they don't have to act as a man should. Do you know what happens when you get men who just act how they feel? You get school shooters, you get violence, you get rapists. Men who do not control their emotions are dangerous. If you find a man who is stoic, he's not going to hurt people. He's going to sit and think about his actions very carefully, and he's going to be a good man who protects for and provides for his family. You find a man who just acts out on impulse and does whatever he feels like, you're going to find a dangerous man. Sitting here telling men to cry more and act with their feelings and it's okay to feel this way, that way, etc., and have no self-control. That is why we have the problems we have in the world. Absolutely not wrong. So when they talk about toxic masculinity, they have it completely inversed on its head, completely not wrong. We need to be teaching stoicism. We need to be teaching young men to understand that the world is very, very difficult. It's hard to be a man. You're going to feel bad sometimes. You just suck it up and perform anyway. Not to sit there and cry your eyes out or blame other people.
What do you think most people get wrong about motivation?
They think it's a permanent fix. They think it's something that is a constant. They think that maybe once I get it, I'm going to hold on to it. And that's the thing about that I was telling you, that I always talk about. It's nothing is permanent. Nothing is permanent. And a lot of times you have to learn to perform without motivation. You have to learn to perform without purpose. You have to learn to perform a lot of different things. And that's what people think. They think I need to have this motivation to work out, to study, to be better. So if they don't have it, they just don't do it. And that's where you fail. You have to learn to train your mind well beyond motivation. If you have motivation, that's great. That's some kindling to the fire. All it takes is a little bit of spark. You can burn the whole forest up. But motivation, you have to learn to exist without it. You have to learn to be your best self and your least motivated. And that's the tricky part about all that shit. Motivation is just a word. You have to have these different things in your mind on where you want to go and know that motivation is not going to get me there. Because I'm not going to always be motivated.
Jocko said the exact same thing. He said that discipline eats motivation for breakfast.
And discipline is good too. But without a clear headspace, there's no discipline.
What do you mean?
So let's say we have a circuit breaker. Okay. And I'm loading everything up to one circuit. Just load it up. It's going to fucking blow. And once that thing blows, man, the circuit's all fucked up. You got to have each thing plugged into the right spot, like a crowded garage. You can't put anything in it. Once your brain is crowded, discipline is great. Motivation is great. But if you can't fit shit in your brain because it's all cluttered with shit, there's no discipline. You may have it sometimes when it fits in that crowded garage of your mind, but you don't have the consistency that you need to have with that discipline.
So what are you talking about here? Are you saying doing self-work and reflecting on you as an individual? Are you doing therapy?
I call it mental zones. I don't get into it much because it would be here all day. But basically is you're organizing your mind so you can put that discipline. So a lot of people talk about discipline. Okay, great. Why do you fall off the wagon? Why can't I continue with this routine? Going to the gym, being better, waking up early, eating the right foods. It's because maybe it's your kids, maybe it's your wife, maybe it's your job, and it's all just stuffed in your fucking brain. You don't have it compartmentalized and organized in these nice shelves. Like you look in the garage, it's all a nice organized militant garage. Hey, where are my dumbbells? Right there. A lot of people whose brain, hey, where's my dumbbells? Let me look. They're fucking throwing shit. They're looking through totes. They're all fucked up. So where am I going to put discipline in that mind if I can't find other shit? You got to be able to find all these different things in your mind. Oh, I can put discipline right there. I can put consistency right there. I can put all these things right there in that spot. So that's what I'm talking about. If your life is not organized and your life being everything around you, because it takes one little a piece of an outside interference to clutter your whole mind.
Because it's on such a knife edge.
That's right. And people don't get that. Your mind has to always be clear. That's why I meditate 2 hours every single night, because I reorganize the garage, which is my mind, every night. So then discipline's in there, organization, everything is in this right spot. So when I wake up, I'm ready to go.
I can't imagine truly wanting to quit something and not being able to quit. I can't imagine it. Like, when I talk to people who say, I want to quit smoking, I say, when? They go, oh, well, soon. But that means you don't want to quit. You want to keep smoking for a while and quit later. I can't imagine a mind frame or a mindset where I want to do something and can't do it. Because if you have that kind of mind, if your mind is so fundamentally broken that you cannot do with your own mind what you want to do,
right?
You know, like that, then you're just fucked. If you cannot control your own mind, then you are just a feather in the wind of life, because your own mind is the only thing you can control. You can't control the weather. Right. You can't control other people. You can't even control whether your heart stops beating. You might have a heart attack tomorrow. You can't control anything besides what you think. If you cannot control your own mind, then you go through life with zero control, zero influence. You can't control anything. You're just a feather in the wind, waiting for life to blow you from happy place to sad place to happy place to sad place, completely hoping on the gods to be fortunate to you, because if any genuine discomfort comes your way, you're fucked. It is trained like everything else in life. It is trained. So if you find yourself not appreciating what you have until it's gone, then you must blink and cure your brain. If you find yourself unable to focus or concentrate on tasks, you must blink and cure your brain. If you find yourself unable to go and dedicate yourself to something you don't want to do, you must blink and cure your brain. Because all of our minds have been under constant assault for years. The way the mind functions, the way people interact has changed so significantly in the last 10 years you wouldn't believe. Because everybody's fucking distracted. They're getting distracted by this, distracted by that, watching fucking Netflix, jerking off to Pornhub like fucking jackasses. It's so easy to win if you can control your own mind. But it seems that nobody fucking can. It gets to a point where you finally must accept the reality that your physicality and your mentality as a man are linked, and you cannot be happy and strong in your mind if you are weak in your body. You need to have a strong body to have a strong mind as a man. There's no way to escape it. And that's one of the reasons why I preach so much about training, learning to fight, get in the gym, get bigger, get stronger. You will fix your mind if you fix your body. You should be as strong as you possibly can.
We're now teaching the new generation of men that they don't have duty and they can just act on their feelings and act how they feel, and they don't have to act as a man should. Do you know what happens when you get men who just act how they feel? You get school shooters, you get violence, you get rapists. Men who do not control their emotions are dangerous. If you find a man who is stoic, he's not going to hurt people. He's going to sit and think about his actions very carefully, and he's going to be a good man who protects for and provides for his family. You find a man who just acts out on impulse and does whatever he feels like, you're going to find a dangerous man. Sitting here telling men to cry more and act with their feelings and it's okay to feel this way, that way, etc., and have no self-control. That is why we have the problems we have in the world.
Hey, Andrew, so how do I get like a six-pack quick? What's the fastest way to get a six-pack?
Why does it have to be quick? Why does it have to be easy? Why do you think life is all quick and easy? Why can't it be hard and difficult? Why can't you suffer? Because suffering is what gives it value. If everyone had a six-pack and it was quick and easy, then it wouldn't be valuable, would it? If everyone walked around with a six-pack and they got it easily, then no one would give a shit. The whole point is that it's difficult to get. Value is linked to difficulty. If you want something that is valuable, you need something which is difficult to obtain. The fact that you just said you wanted it quick and easily shows that your whole mental model is fucked. You shouldn't be thinking about quick and easy. You should be thinking about hard, suffering, pain, going through it. That's what you should be thinking about. This is going to be hard, but I'm going to do it anyway. Because when it is done, then everyone's going to know that I went through something difficult.
The bad things that are happening to you are what you need to become the man that you want to be. Someone emails me and says, "This has happened to me." I'm like, good. No, what do you mean good? It's terrible. How else are you going to become important? How else are you going to find endless fire to get up and struggle in the face of the competition that's out here in the world? How else are you're going to do all that with a nice, cushy life? If any man's honest with himself, think about the biggest transformative stages in your life. Think about the times you got the most work done. It was a bad part of your life. You were heartbroken, or, you lost a house, or broke, or whatever. That's when you did shit. When everything was fine, when the woman's still sucking dick, the mortgage is paid, dinner's on time, it's kind of doop-de-doop-de-doo, little by little, do a little bit of work, do a little bit of relax. But the big events come from trauma. This is it. So it's a cheat code. It's a cheat code to climb the mountain. So when I get a message from whoever and he goes, "My wife left me, I'm devastated," I say, I understand. I completely understand how hard it can be to lose a woman that you've given your entire life to. And you've done so many nice things. And then because of one thing you did, her innate and absolutely insane level of ungratefulness has turned her bitter, and she now talks to you like she hates you over one thing you've done after thousands of efforts showing how dedicated you are to her. And even now that you're prepared to die for her, she doesn't give a shit about you. I understand that pain. But my answer is, good. It's still good. Now take all of that pain, and instead of emailing me, do this.
We live in a comfortable world now where people think, oh, it doesn't matter. But you know what? To some degree, it does matter. It does matter, and I'll tell you who it matters to. It matters to your soul, and it matters to God. I stand in the mirror with a pure heart. I know I am the best version of me that could possibly ever exist. I know that God is proud of me. There's nothing that God hates more than sloth and laziness. If God were to create a man, and that man were to sit around and do fuck all, God will frown upon you. It's why you're never lucky. If you're listening to this and you think I'm never lucky, I'll tell you why, because God dislikes you because you're fucking lazy. Start to work. Start to show God the beauty of his own creations. You'd be amazed how lucky you'll become. Right. God is unhappy with these people. And inside their hearts, they're unhappy. We talk about depression, anxiety, all those things you mentioned earlier on this podcast. That comes from self-loathing. You loathe your own weakness. You loathe your own laziness. This is what all of these things are. I don't feel depression. How can I feel depression when I'm the most powerful version of me that I could ever fucking be? How can I feel depression when I could squeeze my own hand hard enough to break my own bones? How can I feel depression when I've smashed and destroyed 68 people's faces in front of me, men who thought they could test me in fair combat? How can I feel depressed? It's impossible. Do you understand? Every fucking day, I don't feel like doing things that I still do. It's called discipline. It's called being a man. It's not about feeling like doing it. If you only do things you feel like doing, you know what you end up doing?
What?
You end up sitting around with a belly, drinking soya fucking latte bullshit. That's what you end up doing if you only do what you feel like doing. You have to wake up and say, I don't feel like training, but I must train. I will stop being a loser. I will follow the word of Tate. You need to do what you're supposed to do, not what you feel like fucking doing. Okay. That's the difference between a man and a fucking child. You do not become a man doing what you feel like doing. You become a man doing what you're supposed to fucking do. The men on the Titanic didn't feel like dying that day. It's your duty. It is your duty to not be a fat piece of shit. But you fucking it up because of a lack of motivation.
The world is hyper competitive. If you're going to be a man who's going to sit and say, I'm just sad, you are always going to lose in competition to men like me. Yeah. And there has to be losers for there to be winners. I am tired of sympathy. Sympathy doesn't work for anybody. I'm not going to sit here and be sympathetic for people who say they're too sad to try hard and be their best. Guess what? Perhaps I was sad every time I did exactly what I was supposed to do and trained anyway. Perhaps I was afraid when I fought anyway. Perhaps I was tired when I worked anyway. This is how you get ahead in life. I don't have a fucking ounce of sympathy for these people who sit here and say, well, I feel this way, so I can't. Then don't do it. Stay down there. The winners are at the top, and the winners at the top don't give a shit about how they feel. We wake up and we perform regardless of how we feel day after day. So if I'm going to ignore my own feelings, I'm certainly not going to take into consideration anybody else's. Yeah. Why am I going to ignore how I feel and make sure I'm constantly performing regardless, flawlessly, and then sit and go, oh, but he doesn't feel good, so he's allowed to fuck up. No, you are not. You're not allowed to fuck up to your ancestors or to God or to yourself. You have to perform. Baseline of masculinity as a whole is the thing that makes a good man a man is that he does what he doesn't want to do. He doesn't want to work and he works anyway. He doesn't want to go to war and he fights anyway. He doesn't want to get up, he gets up anyway. That's the whole point of it. We didn't want to die in the Titanic. Guess what happened? We died in the Titanic. You can't sit there as a man and say you don't feel like it. You're not allowed to not feel like it. You're supposed to do it anyway, regardless. Yeah. So when a man sits there and says, oh, but you don't understand, I'm struggling with motivation. If you are struggling with the motivation to be a winner, then stay a fucking loser. No problem. Stay a loser. Don't care. Because in my circle, there's no losers around me. Your energy is disgusting. I find it revolting. I don't like weakness around me, even near me. Even people coming up saying hello to me. If you're depressed, don't even shake my hand. I do not have time for losers on any regard. Winners only. I find it amazing there are people out here today who are going to sit and say, oh, I'm sad. I'm too depressed. I don't want to work hard. Do you understand that only 200 years ago, there were peasants out working a field, starving, surviving the Black Death, surviving the plague, struggling to exist just to reproduce so that 200 years later, you can be the end of their bloodline for you to sit on your ass and do fucking nothing. Like, you're a fuck up. You're fucking up your entire bloodline of your entire ancestry. You owe these people things. They went through hell for you to exist. You have a debt. You have a duty to pay. You have to be the best possible version of yourself. And the same to God. God loves people who try. God loves people who work hard. It's amazing if you try your very best all the time, what God will give you. He'll give it to you, anything you want. If you actually try. Not convincing yourself you try. Actually try. They're different things. I do not feel like training, but I still train because I'm a disciplined individual. You don't get to go through life only doing the things you feel like doing. Do you know who gets to do that?
Women.
Beautiful women. Beautiful women get to do what they feel like doing. As a man, you have to do the things you're supposed to do because what we said earlier is absolutely true. It's player versus player, my friend. Now, if I wake up, I've already got this massive head start over you in life, nearly every genetic gift, plus all my finances, plus my network. And I wake up and I decide, even though I don't feel like working, I'm going to work my ass off. And you wake up way down there, peon, and you can't be bothered to work. What chance do you have against men like us? You don't stand a chance. You can't get the girl. We'll take the girl off you. We'll bankrupt your ass. We'll kick you out your house. You name it. You don't stand a chance. Now, if you're going to wake up and look in the mirror and understand that you're absolutely and utterly crushable, that you're a rabbit, and that lions exist, and that's not going to motivate you to do something about it, then you're a lost cause. And there's no point asking us a question. You know exactly what you need to do. If you want to stay killable, then stay killable. But I can't live that way. I would refuse to live that way. It's a disgrace to my bloodline. It's a disgrace to my parents who struggled to raise me, for me to be anything other than the best version of myself. That's honor. I have honor to my last name and to my ancestry. It would be disgusting for them all to have fought saber-toothed tigers so I can wake my lazy ass up, jerk off all day, and ask on YouTube how I can stop being a fucking loser. You understand where I'm coming from?
No, 100%.
So this is down to you, my friend. And listen, you may feel fired up for 10 minutes after this little talk, but you're not going to feel fired up forever. You need to put systems in place. You need to get discipline. And like Justin says, you need to get an atmosphere of people around you who are going to keep you accountable and not make it easy for you to continue to be a fucking nobody. And then you're going to fix your life. Otherwise, you're going to stay a nobody. I am absolutely and utterly a believer in hard work. I'm a proponent of hard work. I have all this money and all I do is work. My entire life is work. This podcast is work. I'm getting in the car and going to another meeting. Work. I'm going to fuck a bitch. That's work. I want to go to the gym so I'm in good shape. Work. It's all work. My entire life is work. And people don't want to look at life that way. They want to talk about work-life balance and being lazy and all this crap. I don't believe in any of that. I believe in, if you want to win, you have to outcompete the man who's prepared to do nothing but work. It's player versus player. If you're going to sit there and go, I don't want to work more than an hour a day, well, the guy who does want to work more than an hour a day is going to beat you. And no matter how smart you are, there's always a smart dude who's doing the same smart work you are for more hours than you're doing it. That's just the nature of the game.
I believe there's only 3 reasons people are not rich. One of 3 reasons. They're either stupid, arrogant, or lazy. Stupid is actually the smallest category. People think, oh, you know, there's a lot of stupid people. There are, but I know a lot of stupid people with a lot of money, right? There's so much money in it. To be too stupid to generate money, I think is less than 5% of the population. We're genuinely too dumb to ever make a good wage. Then you have arrogant and lazy, and these are the 2 most common. Lazy because people just, oh, you know, but I need time to myself. Oh, you know, but it's the evening. Or, you know, it's hyper competitive. There are people who do not need times to themselves. There are people, there's an Indian in Islam, or there's a guy in Islamabad who'll do your job online for $3 an hour and he doesn't sleep. You're going to lose, right? So if you're going to be lazy in any regard, you have to understand there are people like me who are billionaires who work 18 hours a day. When I finish this, I get into my car and I open my laptop and I work on my way to my next appointment. And then I'm going to work all night till the day I go. When I go to sleep, I close my laptop and I'm going to sleep a minute later. I work. That's all I do. So lazy is a big problem because people go, oh, but I just want to relax. If you just want to relax, that's fine. But you're competing against people who just don't want to relax and you're going to lose. And the last, and I'd say that's around, a lot of people have that element to them. A lot of people are lazy. That's about 50% of people. But the main reason people are not rich is because they are arrogant. 50% of people are brutally arrogant. And I'll give you an example. I have a school where I teach people how to make money online. It's called The Real World. It was called Hustles University. It's now called The Real World. TheRealWorld.ai. You can see it at CobraTake.com. I sit here as a billionaire and I sit and say, I will teach you how to make money online. Anybody, 18 modern wealth creation methods. It's $49 a month value. And people will sit there in their brutal arrogance and as a brokey with no money and go, yeah, but can he really teach me? I have everything you've ever fucking dreamed of. I have all the money. You have nothing. And you're so arrogant that you believe you know more than me or that you can do it without me or that I don't know how to teach you. The arrogance of people is truly mind-bending. If you know so much, why are you broke? You obviously don't know. If I wanted to learn how to box, I wouldn't walk into a boxing gym, find a guy who can box and go, yeah, you know, not bad, but can he really punch? Like, this is how people think when it comes to money. You guys are all successful enough. You can sit there and say, look, I do X, Y, Z. I have X, Y, Z. You don't have it. So do you want to learn how to play piano from the piano teacher, or do you want to sit there as an arrogant brokey? Most people are brutally arrogant. And you can sit there and you can try and help them. And they're just so arrogant. They think, oh, I can do it myself, or I'll work it out myself. I don't need help. And it's arrogance. And it keeps them at the bottom. Everything great that's happened to me in my life, someone taught me. I had a kickboxing coach. My dad was my chess coach. You get taught things. To sit there and think you're too good to learn. Well, this is the problem. Most people are broke. Most people are broke because they're arrogant, bro. It's the truth. It's nothing to do with how stupid they are. They're just arrogant people. When I was broke, I couldn't sleep. I don't know how there's broke people out here sleeping just fine at night. Going, oh, you know, inflation's 20%, gas prices are 6 times, everything on the news is a lie, I never stand a chance of ever getting rich, where's my pillow? Like, what the fuck is wrong with you people? I go to bed at night
as a teenager and think, I looked it up on the internet. It was a Honda Civic Type R. I wanted one. It was 38,000 pounds. I had no money. I had less than 50 pounds in my bank account. Couldn't afford it. Then I looked up how much a Ferrari cost. 210,000 pounds. And I said to Tristan, my brother, I was like, there are people with 210,000 pounds for a car. And he's like, yes, so? I'm like, no, not so. How? If I worked my job for 6 years and saved every penny, if I walked to work and didn't eat, I couldn't buy this car. How are people doing this? I couldn't sleep at night when I was broke. I knew that everything was a lie. I knew the Matrix was lying to me. I knew I had to find a way out. I was sitting there going, I refuse to live my human years and be some second-class citizen peasant when there's people out here who get to do whatever the fuck they want. I couldn't tolerate it, and I was so uncomfortable that it gave me the motivation I needed to escape. But the people who go, oh yeah, nice Ferrari, yeah. Back to the TV. Dummies. Losers. And the thing about the world is, we need losers. I'm not mad at losers. If that's the reality you've chosen to live, you get one spin in this version of life, and you decide you want to be a loser, that's fantastic, because my cars need cleaning, a hotel room needs cleaning, I have a party with all these beautiful women that's a bit of a mess. Please, go pick it up. Somebody needs to do that shit. I ain't gonna fucking do it. If I had to walk into a hotel room and clean up after some other man's party, I guarantee you I'd do whatever it fucking took to become rich so I didn't have to do that shit. But you want to do that for 20 years? Thanks, friend. Someone's got to flip the fucking burgers. Someone has to make the fries. I want a Happy Meal now and again. But I don't feel sorry for you people because you fucking deserve it, because it's a decision you made. You made that decision. If you're sitting at home and you say, I don't want to be a loser, you know what to do. I told you how to escape the Matrix. CobraTate.com. You can join. I'll teach you. But if you're going to sit there and go, nah, maybe this guy with hundreds of millions of dollars is trying to scam me out of 25 pounds. All right, smart ass. Have fun at McDonald's. Get fucked. I have no sympathy for these people. Zero.
My basic premise is that I refuse to believe in things that take power away from me. If you are in a haunted house and you believe in ghosts, you're scared of the haunted house. If you're in a haunted house and you don't believe in ghosts, you're just in a house and you don't care. So I don't like the idea when someone explains to me the idea of one day waking up and being miserable and not wanting to live anymore, and it's nothing to do with my circumstances and I have no power over it, and no matter how good my life is, I'm still going to feel terrible and I'm going to want to die. That's not an idea I subscribe to. Yeah, Feeling depressed is real.
Yeah.
Depression as a disease, I do not subscribe to. The idea, I believe, that if you feel depressed, something is depressing you, and you should try your best to fix it. You should take control of your life and do your best to fix it. The idea, but they don't say that. They don't talk that. They say depression like it's this magic thing that comes out the sky and it gets in your brain and you're sad no matter what, and there's nothing you can do about it, and you need to only take pills. And I think that's a very bad way to look at the world, and that's a bad idea to subscribe to. And if you start to feel depressed, let's say your girl leaves you and you start to feel depressed, but you believe in the idea of depression, you're now going to start diagnosing yourself as clinically depressed, self-hypnosing yourself into hypnotizing yourself into being clinically depressed. And it's amazing how you can speak things into existence. I cannot become depressed because I don't believe in it. That's just who I am as a person. I don't believe in it. I do not believe in things that take power away from me. So and people sit there and they try very hard to convince me it's real, which is actually quite interesting because it's always usually depressed people who sit there and try very hard to defend this idea. If you're so scared, if depression's so terrible, why are you sticking up for it? Why are you fighting so hard to convince me it's such a powerful force? Why shouldn't you be doing the opposite? Shouldn't you be listening to me? Whose team are you on? Like, do you want to be depressed? Like, it's insanity. These people are so desperate to push this idea. I think that you feel depressed sometimes because you're human. And also, let's look at it. Let's pretend I'm completely wrong, right? We can look at situational depression like you just described. We can talk about brain imbalance and chemical imbalance. We can talk about clinical depression that you get and it's chronic and there's nothing you can do about it. Whatever. Let's pretend all these things are completely true. The best option, the best thing to do is still to get up, be an adult, control your emotions, be stoic, and do the things you're supposed to do day after day. Laying in bed and doing nothing is never going to be the best option. The best option is still to go to the gym, to work hard, to run your business, to be successful. So it doesn't matter. We're talking about the different positions on the chessboard. But if the rules of the game remain the same, regardless of the position, you're still trying to win.
You still have to do the same things. So does it even matter at this point? If you come along and say he's depressed because of X and he's depressed because of Y and he's depressed because of Z, and the answer to all of them is still the same thing, then I don't give a fuck why you're depressed. All I know, what I will say as a matter of fact, is this world is hyper competitive, especially as a man. Most men are walking through life and they don't realize that it's constant competition. I was driving here. Even as I was driving here, I was looking out the window. There was all these people just walking around. One of them had a fucking croissant. One of them was dressed like a dickhead because it's London. Thinks he fucking looks cool. Looks like a fucking moron.
We've all seen them.
Yeah, moron. Some of the dude just talking shit on the phone. Some other guy with headphones in, waiting to be fucking murdered. Wouldn't even hear it coming. And all these NPCs, I'm just looking at them going, do they realize they're in endless, constant competition? Every single pound they want, someone else wants. Every single girl they want, someone else wants. There are people like me out here. I will destroy, you could get all 30 of them in a room and I will sit by myself and absolutely annihilate them in any single metric. And they're just sitting there just fucking floundering and wandering through life unaware of how competitive the world is.
Well, and whinging how unfair it is.
And whinging how unfair it is. And this is my point. If the world is truly that competitive, you do not have time to be depressed because it's a non-competitive mind state. You could be depressed for X, Y, Z, whatever. I'm not depressed. And I want the money you want, and I want the girl you want, and I want the status you want, and the car you want, and the house you want. And I'm going to get it, and you're fucking not. And that's the bottom line of life. What I'm saying is you're playing a game and it's a competitive game and you need to build a mindset that allows you to be ultra competitive. And if you want to sit there and say, no, I want a non-competitive mindset, then fine. You know what you call people who do not win competitions?
Losers.
Correct. It's just the bottom line of life. And it's kind of interesting because everyone pretends they give a fuck, but nobody does. Especially women. And I know I get attacked for women, but women truly don't give a fuck. If you ask a woman the kind of man she wants, she will never say depressed or sad. Ever. She wants a man who is ultra capable, ultra competent. I've literally had women say to me, you know what I love being around you? I'm like, what? I don't have to think. I'm like, what do you mean? Because I just turn up and like, we just walk in the hotel and everyone, staff do anything we want and the jet's just on the runway and we just land and I'm in this beautiful place and I don't even know where I am and I get to just turn my brain off and it's great. Like, they want someone who is fun and spontaneous and charismatic and successful. They don't have time for sad dudes. They don't care. So the world doesn't care. The world has never given a shit about sad men. So if you're going to sit there and self-diagnose yourself as a sad man, you're going to have a shit life and nobody's ever going to give a fuck and you're going to perpetually lose forever. And that is your decision. I am so scared of being that person. The idea of that terrifies me to the point where I don't even want to accept that as a reality that can possibly exist. I don't give a shit what happens to me in my life. I don't care how bad it is. I don't care if the worst, most heinous things I could possibly imagine happen to me. I know that my sadness, my depression will be temporary because I will never stay a loser. It is against my creed. It's not in my DNA. I think heartbreak is designed to teach you lessons. I think everything bad that happens to you as a man is designed to teach you lessons. I think that's why God gives them to you. You're never going to be a good man unless you've suffered. Good men have been through a lot of bad things, and you have to realize why she left or why your heart is broken so that you can change certain things and grow. I think that the worst men on earth are the ones who haven't had enough pain. You're supposed to suffer as a man. You're born to suffer. The whole reason God put men on this planet is to suffer. And the best men are the ones who suffered the most. I wouldn't be top G if I didn't suffer more than anyone else. You're a better man than everyone else if your life was a mess and it was a hardship. Because you're not what happens to you. You are how you react to it. And the best men on earth are men who have had their parents die, their best friends betray them, their girl betray them, thrown in jail, their money stolen, stabbed, robbed. And every time something happened to them, they sat there and they looked in the mirror and said, what can I learn from this? How can I stop this happening? Those are the best men. Those are the men respect. Those are the men women want. Why do women love scars? Look, they tried to kill him and they can't. That's why I want him. The best men suffered. You find a man who's never been through suffering and nobody gives a shit about him. Men don't like him and women don't like him. Men are no good without it. If you're an intelligent person and you crash your car, you sit and say, how did this happen? Was I driving too fast? No. Whose fault was it? Well, an amateur will say it's their fault. They came speeding out at me. But a professional will say, no, they came speeding out at me. Why couldn't I avoid them? Why couldn't I move? Why didn't I see it? Why am I on this road in the first place? Like, a professional analyzes everything from a position of what they could do about it, having control over all things. And it's the same with heartbreak. If you ask an amateur why his heart's broken, well, she left me because of blah, blah, and he'll just blame her like a dumbass. She's arrogant. She doesn't listen to me. Her friends convinced her to cheat. She wants this, that, instead of saying, I don't have what it takes to keep her.
I don't have what it takes to talk in a way that makes her not want to listen to her friends. I'm not important. So if you self-analyze everything, then everything happens for the same reason. Whether, no matter what bad thing happens to you, including heartbreak, it all happens for the same reason, for you to analyze and get feedback. If you were more important and more successful, she was less likely to leave you. That's the truth. The thing about life is you become a better person via feedback. You don't ever become a better person via anything else, especially not practice. People say practice makes perfect, and that's the biggest mistake, because it's not true. Because I often get asked, Andrew, how do you speak the way you speak? And I say, well, feedback. And they say, well, you've practiced, right? Well, everyone practices how to talk. There's people who've been alive 30 years longer than me, who've been practicing to speak longer than I have. Don't speak the way I speak, for example. It's just an example. You have to feedback. You have to watch yourself talk. You have to see where you've made mistakes. You have to see where you say, like. You have to remove it consciously. You need feedback to improve. So if a woman left you, that's feedback. Learn the lessons and make sure it doesn't happen again. Or sit and blame her and pretend it's nothing to do with you and then wait for it to happen to you again, because it will. That's how life works. Like, feedback I got from jail or my father dying or heartbreak or being stabbed or whatever it is, all of these things happen for you to learn from them. And everybody in life has these events and everybody in life has these traumas they can learn from, but most people are too stupid or too arrogant or too cowardly to sit down, blame themselves, look in the mirror, analyze the entire situation as if it was their fault, and see what they can do to prevent it from happening again. If I get wet in the rain, I blame myself. Why didn't I bring an umbrella? Why was I outside? Why was the car not nearer? Why didn't I check the weather? It's all me. Whereas the average person goes, why are you wet? It rained. And it's not their fault because the sky rains. It's not my fault. I can't stop the sky raining. Whereas I believe I could have stopped myself getting wet even if I can't stop the rain. It's a mentality.
Heartbreak teaches you the power of understanding that in life, things will always get better if you try to make them better. There were girls who I dated when you were still a baby. So let's say I was 20 years old. And she was 19 years old, I was 20 years old, and we broke up for whatever reasons. This particular girl got some job where she had to move to London. And I was upset about it. If the heartbreak had never happened, well, I'd be that guy. I'd be with her now. I wouldn't have done all the great things that I've done. Heartbreak sucks. And you do have to deal with it. And again, know when to walk away without begging or humiliating yourself, especially in this day and age of DMs and messages being recorded and stuff. And each heartbreak, like with every bad event that happens in life, sets an important marker that you eventually look back on a longer timeline, and you see the growth and the self-improvement and maybe the hypothetical scenarios that would have happened had you stayed with that person or had you not been betrayed by that person. And yeah, it serves as very important markers on a timeline. But it's only once you progress a couple years past that timeline that you could see the knowledge in it, unless you do it the wrong way and let it spiral you into down the toilet of self-destruction, in which case then you're like, oh, well, that's when my life went completely wrong. So no, that's when you chose to give up. They're two very different things. But heartbreak's fantastic. I wish my heart could still be broken. That'd be nice. Well, men live for women. This is the point. Men live for women in every single way. If women didn't exist on this planet, everything about my life would be different. I'd have fast cars because I like driving. But a lot of the things that men do, a lot of the things we say, the way you dress, lots of it is about trying to attract women, trying to impress women, and trying to have women hold you in a high regard. Because if women in general hold you in a high regard, then you as a high value man have your pick of the best women on the planet. And there isn't a single red-blooded male out there in the world who doesn't like the idea of lots of different women being attracted to him. Even if he's got his wife and he's in love and it's the first girl he's ever been with and he's, I don't know, a Mormon or a Muslim or a Christian who's super involved. If you were to ask him, would you like to be unattractive to women or attractive to women just in general? He'd say attractive because it raises the impression people have of his wife, for example. So there's not a single man in the world who doesn't live for women in one way or another.
Women teach you a lot about how to get women, which is actually quite interesting. Like, they do. Women teach you a lot about how to get women themselves. If you want to piss a woman off, ignore her. Don't insult her. Just don't reply. And you should know that because when did a woman annoy you most? She ignored you. That's right. So like, you can learn so much from them. But Women are the prize, effectively. Sexual access or access to sexuality has always been a prize for men that effectively had to be earned. You had to go to war and come back with a Valor Star, or you had to be a king or something to get access to sexuality. So women were the prize up until a certain point, and then if you're a high value enough man, you can say you become the prize, blah, blah. But effectively, women are a fantastic mirror, and how women treat you tell you a lot about yourself, because women are ruthless. And if you're not if they don't see value in you, or if they don't see value they can extract from you, you're invisible to them. You know, you can go to a nice restaurant with a girl and you can say, how many men are in here? And she'll say, 3 or 4. And she'll ignore every waiter. If they can't get something from you, you're invisible. So how women treat you in general is a good mark for how much value you openly exude. If they can instantly see value on you, they'll talk to you and treat you a certain way. People think that beautiful women are really bitchy and rude. No, they're not. They're actually very nice and soft and sweet. They're actually quite shy and insecure if you're that guy. But if you're not that guy, they're like, get the fuck away from me. Because they don't even want to bother having a conversation on any level because you don't exude enough value. So women are a mirror. They'll tell you everything you need to know about yourself. And you should pay attention to it and you should change it.
No one is ever going to give a shit about you, even 1% as much as you have to give a shit about yourself. No one cares. No one cares about you if you're a man, ever. Everything is conditional. You don't get loved unconditionally. And that's a beautiful thing, because that makes you strive to create your own value as a man. And the problem that men have is we all go from a time when everyone cares about us to a time no one does. Women don't lose it until they're maybe 45 and childless. Then they'll be like, oh, what the fuck's going on? Now she understands what it's like to become a 15, 16, 17-year-old man. Because we've gone through the stage. I remember my aunts and uncles, hey, little Tristan, I remember, you know, they all cared about me back then. Then you get to 16, 17, 18, you're out in the cold world and you're like, no one gives a fuck, do they? I can't pay my bills. I have no food. Nobody cares. Yeah, your mother and your father will care a little bit, but you have to care about them. So I'd say the duty of protection is the other way around once you become an adult, and you have to care about yourself. So the best advice I can give to anyone, especially the young men who are 13, 14, 15, who, you know, are sitting in their room playing video games and their mother's still bringing them sandwiches, you know, if she continues to care about you that much and you lean on it, you're going to be a nobody. And if she says, okay, you're 18 now, get the fuck out of my house, you're going to be a nobody until you make something of yourself. So the best advice every young man needs to hear is nobody gives a shit about you at all until you make them give a shit. People give a shit about me and Andrew now. Why? Would you have given a shit about me if I just fucking stayed in my room playing video games from age 18 till now? No, you wouldn't know who the fuck I was.
As a man, if you truly care about the world, you need to improve yourself first, because as a man, if you're not capable, your love means nothing anyway, right? You can say I'm a man and I love my dog, but if you can't feed that dog and you can't home that dog and you can't afford to take that dog to the vet and you can't protect that dog, then your love means nothing. Your love as a man is directly correlated to your competence and your capabilities. So when a man who is capable loves you, it means something. A man who's incapable loves you, it means nothing at all. So if you're incapable, not necessarily important, not necessarily financially successful person, it doesn't matter what you feel about anything, because you could be replaced and nobody gives a shit. So if you truly care about that, I guess the lesson is, if you truly care about an issue as a man, the first thing you should do is you should improve yourself. If you have a woman who you truly love, instead of buying her flowers every day, you should improve yourself. If you have a town that you truly love, instead of, I don't know what you would do, instead of telling everyone how great it is, you should improve yourself and you should start a business in that town so that there's more jobs in that town. It doesn't matter what it is. Self-improvement is the answer to showing your love for anything as a man. So when I see people say, oh yeah, I really love my girlfriend or whatever, and then I look at the guy, I say, no, you don't. Because if you did, you wouldn't be sleeping so long. You wouldn't be so insignificant. You'd be trying harder in some way. You'd be doing something. You're not doing anything. If you're not doing anything, you don't love anybody.
I would say to all the young men out there who see me as a source of inspiration, motivation, knowledge, I'd again say something similar than I said to my brother. I'd say if I exist or not, if I speak or not, if I do podcasts, if you hear my voice, it doesn't matter. You can do all of this without me as a source of motivation. Everything I've tried to say to you and everything I've tried to tell you, I've meant it because I care about not you personally, but the way that men are perceived in this world and the way men carry themselves in this world. And if you are a true fan of mine, don't get angry, don't go nuts, don't burn anything down. Don't let this become a moment in your life that spirals you down that toilet of self-destruction. You don't need me, and you can do this anyway.
Best of luck.